How many of you remember the good old times of Call of Duty? Playing with friends, using whatever class setup you wanted, and just having fun. I do too. Remember the maps, the guns, the garbage microphone quality, the hype you felt when that new Call of Duty game finally dropped at the end of every year. 2007 to 2012 was a special time for Call of Duty in the gaming space, especially with the Modern Warfare franchise. Activision and their studios were on top of the world, and it didn't look like they could ever be stopped. That is, until 2013. Today, we're going to be looking at the evolution of Infinity Ward after their original Modern Warfare trilogy, and see how exactly they went on to evolve and legitimize an already well-practiced style of play to create a new type of player. A player known as the Sentinel. Call of Duty Ghosts released on November 5, 2013 to less than critical acclaim. Having to follow up Black Ops 2, it failed spectacularly. The maps were too big, the colors were not nearly as vibrant and pleasing to look at, and, while Extinction has its fans, the third mode didn't live up to what Treyarch did with their legendary Zombies mode. I'm not going to go too deep into Call of Duty Ghosts. The DLC for the game was well received, and it does have its fans at the end of the day. The time to kill was insanely quick. The maps were way too big and looked very washed out in color. And the character models were extremely hard to see and blended into the environments, which made camping a huge part of the game. You would come to find players hiding in bushes with thermal scopes on their weapons, picking off any and every player that had the misfortune of crossing their path.
By the watchtower, man. Come on now.
You're by the watchtower?
Yeah, I'm not over there no more. I'm by the watchtower.
That's why I thought you were over.
Man,
fuck you.
Dude, look.
This was known as camping, while the community at the time was up in arms and complained about how much the game sucked, and trust me, I did too. I do believe we were watching the early stages of greatness being tested and developed right before our very eyes, and we had absolutely no idea. Okay, maybe not. To follow up Call of Duty Ghosts, on November 4, 2016, Infinity Ward would release Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare was the complete opposite of everything the studio had done with Ghosts. The maps were smaller, the game was very colorful and pleasing to look at, and the game was much faster paced. The character models were ridiculous given the space theme of the game, and they were much easier to see. Players were able to jetpack around the map like a bunch of cracked out junkies, which pretty much all but eliminated the camping style of play, and the time to kill was slower, making enemies require more bullets to put down. The game was a step back if you were a fan of the slower, more methodical style of play. Infinite Warfare was a Black Ops 3 clone, but worse. This was the first and last Infinity Ward game to include specialist-type classes and loadouts, not counting MWIII specialist perks. The game was very chaotic and in all honesty a mess, but I will say that the monetization system we saw in Infinite Warfare was the best system we've seen so far even to this day. But faith in Infinity Ward was at an all-time low at this point, with the initial reveal trailer being the most disliked YouTube video on the platform at the time. And fans had no idea what the future held for the studio, but I consider this game a bump in the road on the way to something greater. Here we are, the game to change it all. On October 25, 2019, Infinity Ward would release Call of Duty Modern Warfare. This game was marketed as a reboot of the beloved Modern Warfare franchise. When the campaign trailer was revealed, the community was overjoyed to see Modern Warfare back, and speculated left and right about what the game would be like, while giving their own opinions about how the game should be. Infinity Ward later gave players a small taste of the multiplayer before launch with a 2v2 mode known as Gunfight. This went over incredibly well with the community. The gameplay was smooth, the weapons really packed a punch and felt great to use, and the gunfight maps were very small, almost in a cage match-like fashion. Things were looking good. For a little bit at least.
SFL videos on YouTube says Black Ops 4 was pretty much you destroying another team or being destroyed by another team. Is the balanced matchmaking a priority for Modern Warfare?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the things we really want to do with this game is we want to get new players in the game, and we want them to kind of like, we don't want them to just get punched in the mouth over and over again until they leave. We want a healthy ecosystem. We want a lot of players in and having fun, and that's a big focus for us. It's a big focus for us in weapon design. It's a big focus for us in level design. Our weapons are a bit more lethal than they were in the Black Ops, the recent more Black Ops, and that helps a lower skilled player get a kill when they otherwise wouldn't, have some success, and then feel like now there's a desire to get better and to get another kill. Our maps are a little bit more porous, and we want those players to have a safe place to take their time, to learn how to turn and move and then shoot, put those pieces together, and then they see someone and be like, oh, okay, now I can do this. So
what you just heard is the developers themselves basically admitting that they are putting more things in the game to allow trash players to get easy kills when they usually wouldn't otherwise. What could ever go wrong?
Yeah, it's a big focus for us.
But that approach that you're describing there isn't going to come at the expense of the hardcore players, right?
That's not the plan, right? But we want to make sure that we don't want someone who's, how to say this, lower skill to have a bad experience. We want someone who's higher skill to have a bad experience. And so we have to make choices in how we matchmake for that. And that's something that we put more focus on this game than we have in other games. Because I think when you're at the extremes where hardcore players are just playing against other hardcore players, it's a little bit too sweaty and they're not having fun. And if you're lower skill players, or even you're just new players who just haven't had the chance to get better, because Call of Duty has been a thing for so many years and players have gotten so good at it. If they're just getting beat up and knocked out instantly, then your community never gets to grow, never gets to expand, never gets to improve, and it eats itself. So, yeah, it's a focus for us.
Sure.
What you just watched was Infinity Ward devs putting their balls on the table and announcing to the world that they would be catering to newer players by adding safe spaces on maps, and mechanics and tools in the game that would quote-unquote protect them. As well as placing an emphasis on skill-based matchmaking. Players did not like this news whatsoever. The focus on catering to newer and worse players in general meant there would be things in the game that required very little to no skill of the player to use, but would be able to counter each and every sweat they may come across. The question Infinity Ward never asked, though, was what happens when a highly skilled player who has been playing for many years gets a hold of these tools and takes advantage of these wonderful design choices.
Really? Oh my, how did...
It killed me.
No, fuck you. What the fuck? Oh my god, bro. Bro, shut up. You're fucking dog shit, bro.
Fuck you, bro. You're talking like a tranny.
Bro,
You
shut
sound like
up.
a
You're
fucking
dog shit.
transvestite.
You are not
All
good.
you had to do was
Shut
go
up.
through
You're
both
dog
doors
shit.
at the same
You're
time.
dog
Fucking
shit.
retard.
I hate watching bosses, bro.
Bro, destroy that resource, y'all can.
Bro, I can't find a single way to go inside.
We're winning this. Keep it tight.
Man died.
I got my resource ready. Yeah, and I used to be running that too.
God.
That shit is a fucking, like, it's really good to have like,
Treyarch, we are RT fixed.
Yeah, I'm fucking back. I got my resource. Yeah, fuck yeah, bro.
Enemy VTOL in the
Yo,
AR.
camping, continue camping.
What the? Nah. Why is the 725 so overpowered? Exactly. I'm about to use it.
UAV on station, ready for flyover.
UAV entering the AO. He's so annoying with it, I'm gonna kill him with his own gun. Where? What the?
Let's have another.
Freaking guy with the right shield, bro. You are kind of annoying. Yeah, let's just say you're a sap.
Camp it up, faggy camp. I hate with a fucking passion motherfuckers who use riot shields. Oh no! Riot shield McGee! You're a little faggot. Oh, riot shielder. He's a riot shielder, Daddy.
This is fun.
He's a riot shielder. I knew the riot shielder would be in his favorite spot. The riot shield spot. Backs to the walls, riot shielders. He's a real riot shielder. Oh no, riot man!
Copy that. Beginning sweep for target. Getting back for a supply. Good hunting. Enemy UAV overhead.
It's the most unrealistic thing in all of combat. Get a guy with a fucking plastic shield bumps me on the noggin and I die. 3 or 4 shots to the face. So stupid.
UAV overhead.
Shielding faggot guy. On the way to stay alive. Come here, riot shielder. Open that door, riot shielder. See what happens. If you open it, face me, man. To the ground. He's a riot shielding fucking faggot. He's a riot shielding faggot boy. Fucking daddy dropping the door. A riot shielding man with his cousin's cock in his hand. He's a riot shielding man. Cousin's cock in his hand. You win, riot shielder. Yay! Ball. Yay! Yeah, you're a faggot too, huh? Yeah. Riot shielding is faggots. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're faggots.
You're in a fucking corner in the room. Fucking not just
oh, you shit on bitch! Dude, I shit on you. How does that make you?
I don't understand how people have fun sitting in corners.
That's how you have to win the game, bro.
You pay $70 to play a game in one spot and get 6 kills a game.
They can't win, yeah, they can't win the normal way. You gotta keep, bro. You gotta cave in the corner or riot shield and shit. Yeah? How else are you gonna win the game?
UAV.
Still in a fucking corner.
Out in the lead.
Yeah, bro, that's how he's gonna win, bro. And he gets off when you yell at him. That gets his dick hard.
Oh wow. Everybody go kill the guy in the stall in the back.
He's gonna win the game, bro. The game is to not go where he's at.
UAV overhead.
Then he's
winning
forced
this.
to
Keep
go
it tight.
run around.
Oh my goodness. That's the reason why Call of Duty is dying. Faggots like this.
Hey man, all you have to do is just not go over there. How hard is that?
It's not hard when I spawn in that room. Yeah, I'm gonna go kill myself. Look, I'm legit going to go get
Oh my god, he's camping there with a fucking... that guy is like...
I'm tired of
got a trophy system. bro. Ah, he spawned right behind you too. You killed him and he went right back in there. That's fucking hilarious.
Literally gonna be
he came out the room. He came out the room for 1 second.
I just spawned and got hit with a grenade and died. Well, I'll never see any of you guys again because I'm gonna go for myself.
Winning is good for business.
I'm done.
Just make sure you're done in here.
That's great.
Look, everybody reported first quitting. I'll literally get
Yeah. Fucking suck, bitch.
Everybody reported first quitting. I'll literally get banned.
This is what happens. Everything you just witnessed and more. The birth of a new player known professionally as the Call of Duty Sentinel. The Sentinel may be new in name, but the ideas and methods are the same as a traditional camper. The thing is, Modern Warfare 2019 provided the tools and maps that no other game in the franchise had up until this point. The Sentinel became a camper on steroids. Funny enough, Infinity Ward themselves created the Sentinel name. Riot shields, overpowered shotguns, trophy systems, no red dots on the minimap when players fire their weapon, loud player footsteps to allow sound whoring, giant and confusing maps with hiding spots and one-way entry rooms, all of these design choices created the player I am today. I fear no man. I fear no sweat going for nukes with the cheesiest gun in the game. I fear nothing. Call of Duty will never be the same. The Sentinel is here to stay, and I wish mercy on the souls of all who get in our way. In all seriousness, if you've made it this far into the video, then I want to say thank you. This took longer than I thought it would to edit, and it might be my favorite video to date. If you liked what you watched, feel free to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you will always know when I post a new video. And for all of my fellow Sentinels out there, keep on keeping on. Until next time.